Okay, so this is the question. We're starting with 20 feet, and we want to convert that amount into meters. And we know that feet and meters are both measures of distance, so this conversion can actually work. The first thing you need to do in order to perform this conversion is find a relationship between feet and meters. So basically, I need to figure out how many feet are in 1 meter or how many meters are in 1 foot. Either way, it'll work. So you can look it up somewhere. It's easy to find on the internet or if you have a conversion table for your course. And I find out that 1 meter is equal to 3.28 feet. So I write that down and put a little box around it just to remind myself this is a piece of information that's necessary to solve the problem. So my method is going to be to start with the 20 feet and find a conversion factor to multiply that by to turn it into meters. The conversion factor I'm going to use has to be a fraction made up of the two numbers that are in the box. So there are two possible conversion factors I can multiply by. It'll either be 3.28 feet over 1 meter or 1 meter over 3.28 feet. The fraction I choose to use in this situation depends on which units I'm starting with and which I want to end with. I want to make sure the feet unit we started out with is canceled and replaced with meters instead. Now, if you're a little confused about why this works, you need to remember a few things about fractions. Any fraction where the top and bottom are the same is equal to 1. So, for example, 5 over 5 equals 1. And in both of these fractions, one's over here, the top and the bottom are actually the same thing because 1 meter is the same as 3.28 feet. So if I multiply by either of these fractions, I'm really only multiplying by 1. And anything multiplied by 1 is just equal to itself. So if we multiply by either of these fractions, we don't change the original amount, the 20 feet we started out with. We just change the units because some get canceled and some are left over. Now back to the problem. In the amount we started out with, we can think of it as a fraction with feet on the top. If you don't see why, then try writing the 20 feet over 1, since any whole number can be written as a fraction by putting 1 in the denominator. If I multiply this fraction by a fraction with feet on the bottom, then it will cancel with the feet on the top in the original amount. So what I need to do is multiply by the second of these two fractions. 3.28 feet will go on the bottom and 1 meter will go on the top. If you're wondering, I put them in these straight line brackets here. They don't really need to be there. That just shows that this fraction is a conversion factor. A lot of textbooks use that. When I multiply these two fractions together, both the feet units on the top here and on the bottom there will cancel out. So we know the answer will be in meters because that's the only unit left. Now all that's left to do is multiply 20 over 1 by 1 over 3.28, which using the rules for multiplying fractions gives 20 over 3.28. When I divide 20 by 3.28 on my calculator, I get 6.097, which I'll just round up to 6.1. And that's the final answer, 6.1 meters. And it's always good to put a little therefore statement just to remind yourself what the answer actually represents. We started with 20 feet, and we wanted to know how many meters that was, and now we know 20 feet is the same as 6.1 meters. Now just take a second look at the answer and ask yourself, well, does the answer make sense? Well, just think for a second about how big a distance 20 feet is, if you can sort of picture that in your head. And does that seem to be the same amount as what 6 meters is? You know that a meter is more than a foot, so it would take less meters to measure the same distance it would in feet. That's why the number of meters is smaller than the number of feet here. I also know that there's a little more than 3 feet in 1 meter that we had up here. So it makes sense that the number of meters would be a little less than a third the number of feet. And 1/3 of 20 is less than 7. So this answer should be less than 7, and it is. So after thinking about it, I think the answer is correct. And I can tell you for a fact that it is correct, so don't worry about it. It's just always a good idea to do a little check that way.